Hello, welcome to E.G.R and Friends. My name is Elden Killian and I will be your host. Today we'll be presenting It's Gonna Be May. Every game ranked monthly in May 2021. Again, these are all the games I played this month, ranked from beginning to end. This month I have not as many games played this month as in April. Also, I'm recording this a little bit late, about 2 weeks late almost. And that is my day job is I'm a school teacher. It's been end of the year, and I've had a lot of end of year duties that have kind of cut into my time to do things like this. But anyway, better late than never is my motto. So let's go ahead and get this started. We've broken this up into three categories. This month, the first one is going to be called Rain, Rain, Go Away. There I am. So these are my least favorite, although this month was pretty solid when it comes right down to it. I was happy with most everything that I played. But let's go ahead and get to our next game. Our first game, the worst game I played this month, was Grandpa Beck's Scheming and Skulking. I believe this has been rebranded as Skulking. However, I played an older version. The artwork was terrible. This is actually just a re-implementation and like reimagining of games like Wizard and some other games like that that I've played. Trick-taking game where you are trying to guess how many tricks you are going to take. You get points if you guessed correctly. You get negative points if you guessed wrong. And then this one adds a couple little things to the scoring, and there's like some cards that can do. There's a card that can be either a winner or a loser. There's some cards that give bonus points if you beat some other cards with it. I thought that little addition was interesting. It also made the end game a little more. It was easier, or it felt easier and possible to like make up a big difference at the end of the game. Sometimes in games like this, one player just kind of runs away, and the last few hands, you might be able to pull off some miracle comeback, but realistically, you're just kind of out of it. But this one added a little bit to it, so I'd actually say this is a little bit better than Wizard. But of all the games I played this month, was my least favorite. But again, this wasn't terrible, and but anyway, there's that. Next, Sovereign Skies. This is actually the second month in a row I got to play this game. I played it at the end of April, played it in May. Relatively speaking, it fell in my estimation in my second play. My fear, and I kind of felt this after the first game, was I feared there's not a whole lot to bring me back to it. Doesn't stand up to repeated plays, like it doesn't have that replayability option. It is an interesting little puzzle. It's just a race though to do your very best to get to the end game condition, and whoever can do that fastest and figure out their puzzle the best is the winner. But it is clever. It is interesting. I'd definitely play it again if somebody wanted to. But I don't feel like I'm going to be playing this a lot in the future if it's just up to me. Anyway, Sovereign Skies. Beautiful box. Nifty little production. It is an interesting puzzle. I'm just not sure it's a puzzle I want to do over and over again. Number 14 this month, Qwantum. This was a new to me game. This is a couple years old. This is similar to other games like Quicks and what's the other one? Starts with a Q. It's in that sort of line of games. I thought this one was interesting. This is one that my wife really enjoyed. I could see myself playing this one a lot more. But it's a little filler game. It's not something I'm going to be, it's going to go in my shelf of filler games when I'm looking for something 10-15 minutes or something lighter that I want to play multiple times in a row. This is definitely going to become an option. But it definitely just fills sort of that same lane as like Quicks and Quinto is the other one I'm thinking of. and I kind of see those games kind of all feeling kind of the same thing. They are different though, and so one flavor might be your cup of tea or the other, but they're all very similar. But it's good. It's a good game. Number 13, everything on one card, or alles auf un. I say one in German. I don't know. Anyway, everything on one card is the English title. I actually have the German copy of the game, which I got off Amazon Germany. This is an interesting little game where you have 2 cards and you're rolling dice, and then the active player gets to pick some dice and everybody else can take the leftovers. The limitations in what you're rolling, and you can push your luck a little bit, sort of like Yahtzee style. You can roll again and hopefully get something better, but you have to use everything that you rolled all on one card. So each card has a bunch of different symbols on it, and worth varying amounts of points. So like if you can get 5 triangles, that'll be worth like 5 points, and then they don't have all the symbols on them. Each card has a different amount of symbols and a different number of points for those symbols. And so if I roll square, square, triangle, 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 I have to use the 3 triangles and the 2 squares on one of those cards. And if I can't fill out all 3 of the triangles, then I can't use the triangles. Or if I can't fill out both of the squares, I can't do the squares. And I can't put them on a different card. So I have to pick which one of my 2 cards I have in front of me that those dice are going to be on. But the interesting thing here is sometimes you have an okay roll, but you want to push a little bit, so you reroll some of the dice, but then you get 1 extra circle. Like, oh, I had the perfect amount of circles, and now I don't, and now I can't use the circles at all. But the other players can use them, and I don't know. It's just it's an interesting game. Definitely held my interest through the 2 times I played it, and definitely would bring it out again in the right circumstance. But again, this almost kind of fills that same little niche as the last game, Qwantum. So they're kind of competing for table time with each other. But yeah, it was an interesting game. Number 12, Cryo. This is a bigger game. A little disappointed in this one, but it is a good game, and other people might find this really interesting. In this one, you are like you're like in a cryogenic sleep chambers, or your team is, and you're landing on this planet, and you are trying to get resources to take it, and to take like your part, the people you're in charge of, into these caves. And there's a little bit of area majority going on in these different cave units, and your actions are interesting. It has that thing where you can take up to 3 actions before you have to call back your workers. But you can call them back earlier, and I found that disrupting that pattern, because you're just taking turns back and forth, but disrupting that pattern can help you get into locations that you're kind of getting frozen out of if you just follow the pattern of going back and forth and recalling one right after another. So I always like that little, it's like, oh, I can not take an action, get my things back, that'll set me up to get onto a different path. That was interesting. I found parts of it were extremely tight, and it's why I'm not sure if this is a game I'm going to be playing a lot more. It was not bad by any means. I actually would like to play at least one more time just to solidify my thoughts on it. But I had an okay time playing it. You know, I didn't hate my time, but I wasn't sure. I'm not sure if this is a game that's going to last in the long run for me. Our next section, this is the life-giving rain. Games are a little bit better, and so we'll start with Similo. I play this game a lot, and I played a hand or 2 of this during the month. I always enjoy it, as long as everybody is on the same page and is like interested in the game and like trying to figure it out. It's a good time. Anyway, Similo, simple card game. They just came out with 2 new sets that are available. So I think there's 5 total available in print. And I just found out the app exists. You do have to play pass and play or online with another person. There's no solo mode, which I don't know how that would work anyway. But there's an additional set on the app, which hopefully will come in print because it looked interesting. Anyway, Similo, good game. Bravo, I played this one again with some friends. Not my first time playing this game, and this is like the sequel to Knockmall or Encore, the English version. Ink and Marcus Brand, rolling right. Yeah, just really good game. I've talked about it before, but it is interesting. I like what this adds. Knockmall I thought was a pretty good game. This adds a little wrinkle to it that I appreciate and enjoy. Diamonds, got to play Diamonds again with some family members. Just solid trick taking game for sure. And this time I played with a different group, and I feel like it took a little bit longer for everyone to get on the same page on how the game's going to work. But yeah, good game. Next, Coatl. This was recommended to me by a friend, and I got this. I've played it a few times in May. Probably going to play it again. This really does fit like that same game niche as like Azul and others. It's maybe just a touch more complicated than Azul because of the way the scoring is sort of dictated by the player, and you've got to manage some cards that way. But definitely, you're building. You're either collecting pieces or you're adding them to your scoring quaddles, and you're just kind of building those up and trying to fulfill scoring requirements with the things that you're building. Again, it's an interesting puzzle. There's some self-determination in what you're going to score and what you're trying to score, and trying to make that work. Solid game. Coatl, number 8 this month. Number 7, Carcassonne. I spoke about Carcassonne. I have my games I've played 20 times series. I talked about Carcassonne and I played it. Yeah, just a really good game. We had an expansion or two in there. Really enjoy Carcassonne. It's one of those all-time classic games that I'm always gonna play. I've played enough times where maybe it's not my first choice all the time, but I don't know if I'd ever turn it down if somebody really wanted to play it. Great game, Carcassonne. Number 6, Hallertau. Yeah, I got to play this game another time or two this month from last month. And yeah, just a really solid Uwe Rosenberg game. I do feel it's lighter than some of his other games. I feel like it's a little more straightforward. And because of it's more straightforward, it's maybe not as replayable. But there are some interesting game mechanisms going on there. There's some interesting gameplay. Hopefully this is not the last time I play it. I do enjoy it quite a bit. Anyway, Hallertau. And let's move into the best games I played. You Are My Sunshine. It's gonna make the plants grow. These are the games. Anyway, number 5, Bonfire. This is a new to me game, and Stefan Feld doing some good things here. I've played this. I played the solo version once. I played with a friend, 2-player. I did realize after the second play that I was doing something a little wrong, so I really do want to play this again with the correct rules, just to see. It wasn't a major goof up, but I could see how it would kind of change the flow of the game a little bit. I was building the one's supposed to build left to right, the other one's supposed to build right to left, and I was doing them both left to right, and just missed that in the rule book. Probably just in my brain it made sense for both of them to go left to right, and I didn't pay too close attention. Anyway, but I think I got all the other rules correct, and yeah, so the Stefan Feld game is like the king of the point salad. Like I say, this one's not quite as point salad-y as other games, but you definitely have some objectives. Like to score points, to maximize your points, you kind of have to line up things correctly, but there's not a ton of different ways to score points. You're not necessarily guaranteed to progress in your point scoring every turn. Even a lot of his games, it's like, okay, do this, you'll get 5 points. Do this, you'll get 3 points. But maybe like if you can chain something together with it later, you'll end up getting 10 points, type of thing. So like you're always kind of progressing forward. It feels like this game, you're taking actions where you're like, okay, I gotta set myself up so that I can get on the score track. And but yeah, really interesting game. Definitely, hopefully I play this game some more in the future. On BGG, it looks like it's getting some buzz. Some people like it. It's got an 8. It's in the top 500 already. So yeah, I think this is a winner. Number 4, Nidavellir. I played this online a few times, but I did get my copy and played it once with some friends. And yeah, just a really good drafting game when it comes down to it. It kind of marries an auction with a draft. It almost feels more like a draft because you will get something every opportunity. You're going to get a card, and what you're kind of bidding for is the opportunity to take your first choice. But it does it in a really slick way. You have these coins, you're putting them out there. You have the opportunity to turn to bid really low, bid 0 with one of the coins, but then it lets you turn around and take your leftover coins and make one of them be worth more. So in the future, you have a higher value to bid with. And yeah, I just really like this game. Hopefully, I get to play it some more in person. But there's a really good implementation on Board Game Arena if you're wanting to try it out. Great game. Number 3 this month, Carpe Diem. This is a game I've played a lot in the past. Skipped ahead. Carpe Diem. This is a game I've played a lot in the past. Another Stefan Feld game. This one has just interest. I like the puzzle of like where you go next. Gives you opportunities for things you need in the future. So you're kind of looking ahead in the game. So you make sure you get the right things, but you're also, it's a draft, so other people are possibly getting in there before you and getting what you need and stopping you from being as efficient as you need to be. I really like the game. It's not super long. It's another one of those games where you get to determine what you score, but even that is a draft, and so you're jockeying for a position to get your first choice there so you can score most advantageously. Just a really good game. I have one of the older editions that has, the problematic color scheme and artwork, and the colors look too close to each other, and it's kind of a pain in the butt, but it's just a really good game. And I think it's a testament to how good of a game it is that they keep trying to fix those graphic design errors so it's more palatable to people, because the gameplay is just solid and excellent. And again, it's not too long. I've played this in the past with like 10-year-olds, and they do okay. Once they figure it out, they get it down. Anyway, Carpe Diem. Number 2, I spoiled it earlier, but Merv. This is my highest new to me game. I really enjoyed this. I only got to play it once, but I do hope to play this one a lot more in the future. I think it's interesting the way you're choosing your actions. You're only getting to do 12 things in the entire game, but you can kind of set yourself up to get more of those things. Don't want to get bogged down with too much explanation, but there's like this little push and pull of like, okay, I'm setting myself up to get lots of actions over here, but if you're focusing on you doing a lot of things, you're also allowing your opponents to maximize their turns, and so you're kind of jockeying for these things. It's one of those games where I think I came out with the victory. It was a really close game, but I totally excluded one part of the game, and my opponent totally excluded another part of the game, just because it worked out, and we both came up with pretty even scores. So I think it's a well-balanced game, and you don't have to be a generalist, like certain games like Agricola, where you kind of have to do everything to do well. In this game, you can kind of choose the path that you're going to go on. You have to, because of the way things work, you do have to do certain things in conjunction with others, but you don't have to do everything if you don't want to. At least after one play, that's how I feel. And I like that it gives you that choice of how you want to attack your game and how you want to mitigate your luck and your and like how you're gonna craft how your game plays, and your opponent is gonna do that, and you're gonna get in each other's way. You're gonna make decisions that are gonna impact them. One cool thing is, like, after each round of the game, like, the Mongols come and invade and like tear stuff down, but you can protect it. But when you protect something, you're also it's beneficial to you to not only protect your stuff but also other people's stuff. And so you do have like these malleable alliances. And I was only playing 2-player games, so maybe in a 3 or 4-player game like this would even come out. It's like, okay, I'm going to do this. It's going to help me also get me more points. Also going to help you because I'm going to be protecting your stuff. And I thought that was a stroke of genius in the game design. But yeah, I really did enjoy this game. The production looks great on the board. The symbology, once you get used to it, took just a little while, and then it pretty much makes sense. I would call this like a high, maybe a low heavy game. It's not. I wouldn't call it medium weight by any means, but it's also not super heavy. It's not gonna take you 2 hours to figure out how to play the game. You know, there's some explanation. There's some things to go through, but I felt like things mostly made sense as we were playing. Anyway, thumbs up for me. Really good game, Merv. And my number one game this month is one I've talked about a lot. It's a Wonderful World. I did play with the one of the expansions, the new ones, Ascension and Corruption, I believe it's called. And yeah, that totally adds a little thing. This is the first time I got to play the expansion with no, that's not true. Played this with the expansion with other players. We played it twice in a row. I feel like most of the other players had a good time. Again, it's just a really good card drafting game. Pretty straightforward with an interesting puzzle. You know, especially after you've played it a number of times, like, things just make sense and you understand what you're trying to do. The first play sometimes can be rough, and I think it was for at least one of the players at the table. Just wasn't quite grokking exactly how it was going to work. But after the one time we played it again, that player did a lot better. But, you know, it takes some experience to play the game well, and but I think it's rewarding. Also, the game plays really fast, and you can play it multiple times in a sit down. Has a great solo mode. Great game. Anyway, those are my games this month, or for May, and looking forward to seeing you a couple weeks when I do June. But I gotta come up with the tagline.
Where? I'm making a YouTube video, Bev.